I started my work through the day one, another domestic violence sexual assault organization. From there, I started at the Women's Resource Center about going on 5 years now, July 2020. So in the midst of COVID, been there for over 5 years, well, going on 5 years. I worked in our shelter as various different roles for a few years, and then my current role now is system advocacy manager, where I oversee a few different programs. Um, Along with that, I do have my license in social work, and so I do clinically see clients for a counseling program and outside of my agency as well. So as Tia was saying today, we're going to talk about some ways we can help and support employees. There's a lot of different means of how to do that. Our organization has done really well, and I do want to praise Jessica Walsh, our executive director. She's been really a pioneer for trying to make sure our wellness and mental health, physical health is up front. So I do have an agenda, and I really want this to be more of a open discussion. So I may pause at times to kind of see what other organizations are doing as well. First I'll start with our biggest, I think, initiative has been the 4-day work week, which has been, of course, amazing. And as great as it sounds, it started as a challenge in the beginning. Um, but we've been doing that for and since the fall of 2022, where we enter a pilot program to make sure this was even the right move for my organization. And so in that pilot program, which I'm going to share in the chat, it's an organization based out of Boston who helped work with us for a full year, making sure this is, while the 4-day work week is a great initiative, we wanted to make sure it was working for our clients as well. So we didn't drop the ball on certain situations. And so I'll definitely speak more on the 4-day work week, and I'm just going to post in the chat that organization as well. So the 4-day work week, again, just recognizes that there's there's a lot of research behind the 4-day work week that's been implemented through a bunch of different organizations, including the one I just put in the chat that shows the benefits of actually implementing this instead of working 5 days, working 4 days, and having the same amount of input, output, as well as improving mental health, improving production. And so while we did this 1 year trial basis in the 4-day work week, it showed that all of these things did improve for us. And so it wasn't just hey, we want to do this 4-day work week, we're doing it. There was a lot of effort put into place to make sure that we actually can do it correctly. Um, and so from there, in 2023, when the pilot ended in fall, our board of directors did vote for it to become a permanent part of our organization. So we still have the 4-day work week. We've been doing it going on 3 years now. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's definitely been wonders. I was able to get my master's, my bachelor's while working in this organization, and the 4-day work week definitely was a big part of the reason why I was able to do that. And then another thing kind of going into COVID is mental health check-ins. During COVID, there was a lot happening, a lot. We were still able to, our organization, though some people work from home, but in the shelter, we had to work in person because we worked where people live. And so a part of everything going on was our agency was able to provide co-pays for a few years from COVID on to any mental health visit. So if you went to a therapist, counselor, whatever it may be, and you had a copay, my organization actually refunded that. So they really wanted to reduce the barriers of, making sure you were able to help with your mental health. Along with that, which I'll mention a little bit later, is the EAP, which is an employee program that we're connected with through the Coalition of Rhode Island. who also have counselors as well, and it's a big organization that we rely on as well. And then a big part of my organization too is what's really important is encouraging rest and boundaries. Um, oop, yep, I'm just gonna please thank you. How many people work at the Women's Resource Center? There is about 20 of us. And then we do have some fee for service clinicians, so maybe 20, I believe 23. So we're definitely a small agency on the smaller side, but there's still enough of us that um, doing the 40 work week definitely was the challenges that we had to work through. Um, and Karen, you're the EPCAP director?
I'm the Director of Compliance and Credentialing at East Bay Cap, yes.
Yes. And that is where are you based?
I am in East Providence. I work at the Adams Farley Counseling Center, where People Operations, formerly known as Human Resources, that's the location we're out of. We have about 550 employees.
Oh, wow, so yeah, you're a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot
And a
bigger than we
lot of
are.
different books of business too, a Head Start, health centers,
Mhm.
family development, cozy, behavioral health, recovery center. We've got a lot going on.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, definitely.
Great.
And same here for like our organization. There's a lot of we're small, but there's a lot of little sectors in place. Our shelter program has about 3 to 4 employees. We have a court program, counseling, and then we have a prevention program as well, has in Newport. And then we do work alongside the Coalition for Domestic Violence and have the sister agencies. So we're like spread far and wide, but definitely just about 22 of us, so definitely smaller. Um, has there ever, Karen, just to ask you, has there ever been a discussion about the 40 work week in your place? I know there has been some discussions here and there at different organizations.
It pops up from time to time, but we're really not in a position to tackle that. We do other things. I mean, we heavily promote our EAP. We do have some flexible work schedules where possible. We certainly support folks who are going for um, educational development, things like that. But
Hmm.
the 4-day work week has really not been heavy on the radar screen right now.
Yeah, definitely. I would say for our EAP program too, we promote the heck out of it.
Mhm.
Every time we're sharing, we're sharing, we're sharing, but I can say, unfortunately, our employees don't take full advantage of it, which is a shame because there's so much good stuff that they offer in that program. But I know that our employees definitely don't take full advantage of it, which I'm gonna speak to later on the EAP and how
Mhm.
like I utilize it myself. Um, and I would say the 40 work week, our director, Jessica Walsh, who again is amazing, will like has offered to speak to any other director or board to kind of really present the 40 work week. And like if they have questions or, it's intimidating. And I think there's never gonna be a right time to do the 40 work week.
Sure.
We did it in the fall 2022, which is, still in the midst of COVID, but she like recognized how like important that was, and the board did as well. And I would say like it has definitely helped with retention, with mental health. Um, we did, I think, unfortunately, like someone just moved on to a different position, but that was the last person that has left us, and they were here for 2.5 years. And that was just to kind of move towards her own goals. And so I think it's definitely important and can be presented in a way that's like useful for the organization as well as important for the individual employees. Not easy. I don't want to like, it was definitely, we definitely went through some challenges and like dropping the balls here and there, and other partner organizations didn't like that we were doing that. But we kind of prevailed and showed the data and did the 1 year pilot, which was the important part. We did the pilot and that person, that pilot program kind of captured data along the way to make sure we were actually, using this pilot correctly. It was beneficial to everyone involved. So I definitely want to highlight that never going to be a good time for the 4-day work week. And I definitely know it's still a forward-thinking policy like that is not a lot of organizations do it right now. But I definitely wanna, and an important note is that we do, it's not like 10-hour days. My schedule is Monday through Thursday and I work 8 hours. And so I'm not working 40 hours, it's 32-hour work weeks.
Good.
And so I did add the 4-day work week website that the organization that helped us into that, and they have a lot of good research in there, a lot of good other information that's important. All right, and so I'm just gonna and I did wanna so my next item on my agenda is workplace recovery friendly, which Tia is a big part of how we got connected, how we met each other, and has become an important part of our organization's culture. And if you're not familiar with the Workplace Recovery Friendly program, it's an initiative to make sure that we're supporting staff members in their recovery, whether that's implementing language change, mocktails, just kind of learning more about or not someone's, but learning more about someone's recovery and how we can protect that and actually support that. So that's definitely been a big part of our organization now. We have events all the time, fundraisers and such, and we always have a mocktail that's available. We always make sure there's certain stuff to be included. Yeah, definitely. I love the questions. Please, you have questions, just throw it right in. Um, Melanie said, "How's the pay structure of the 4-day work week? Is it by salary or not by hour?" So we're all salary based at my organization. But they did work through if someone was hourly based. And as well as like if someone was part-time, they would that person I believe, and don't quote me, would get like half a day off. And so like they worked into the hours of how that person can still benefit from the 4-day work week and make it fair for everyone.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, of course.
I'll just add in too. Hi, my name is Megan. I work with Ricky. And so we did have to kind of look through and think about like accrual rates for vacations and sick time. So those were some of the HR things that we really had to iron out. And so definitely it's, salary, the 32 hours. So essentially staff almost got like a 25% raise is how it kind of came about, the way that we were able to finagle it. And I will just share, Ricky touched on a lot of the things that I would certainly highlight in terms of the successes of the program. And staff retention is a huge one. Overall, job satisfaction, working in the domestic violence field, it's really, our advocates have a lot of, you know, stress, right? Working with these really high intense situations. And so we really wanted to make sure that they're getting, enough rest, enough recovery time, really be able to enjoy their weekends. Having that extra day off also means that they can prioritize like medical appointments that they might have, that they might not have the sick time to utilize. Staff has reported that they're more likely to stay at the organization because of the 4-day work week. We've historically had a lot of turnover, so we really have seen that as a huge success with the organization. One of the things that we know is a huge challenge is we really learned how to deprioritize, and really kind of think about our work in a different way. And so if we have a meeting on the books and we will send out an agenda request. And if folks don't have anything that they want to share on the agenda and the meeting isn't pressing, we'll give an hour back to our staff for that day. So those are some of the things. We even cut meeting times down to maybe 50 minutes, right, as opposed to an hour. So we really try and be intentional on how we are making sure that folks are able to navigate their time management. And so that was definitely a part of the process as well. And then, as I'm sure as you can imagine, with a smaller organization, another thing that we really had had to troubleshoot was like coverage and making sure we had a plan for coverage. We had a plan in place to support staff that might be utilizing sick time. And then we really also it's been instrumental in helping with cross training at the organization. Folks are able to jump in to other roles. We've had to really kind of beef up our what we call the "if I was abducted by aliens" document. So our manuals are really fine tuned so that we can enable staff to be able to jump into other positions. So those have been some of the really good successes and outcomes. And I know there's a lot of WRC staff, so if any of our staff want to share their personal experience about how it's been, that would be welcomed as well.
One second. Yeah, but as Megan said, Megan's the client service director, so definitely a big part of those discussions and part of the work that we did for the 4-day work week. Um, there's a lot that went into it. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of collection. The organization even followed up with us, I believe, 6 months ago to check in how we were doing. And they were super supportive in the process. So it's not as though we're just, we're done with the 4-day work week. We're still fine tuning. We're still making sure this works for everyone. We still check in. And that organization, again, is still supportive.
I
Um,
like how you mentioned that you're looking at how long a meeting takes and trying to be conscientious of that. And it's those little things that can make a difference and not reduce any quality of work. So thanks for sharing that.
oh yeah, there's so many little things that we've like had to look at to make sure this works. And meeting time was, do we need this extra meeting? Is this important? Can this be an email? How do we communicate with each other? Um, Yep, and there goes Erin. So, I'll read it. She works at the Women's Resource Center. The 4-day work week has been so helpful to her overall well-being. She has time for family appointments that she didn't have before. And it also helped with preventing burnout. And I think that's important. That just highlights the importance of every field. We're all working probably more than our own jobs because it's just the demand of what we do and there's never enough funding or enough staff. And so this is just another way that I feel like has helped, um, give back time to people. And I was reading something online where it's time poor, and we just don't have enough time to do the things for ourselves that we would like. And so for myself, I have Fridays off. I recently got more into my counseling. I have a second job to do counseling, and I can do it on that day. And I still have my weekends to do everything else I want. And before I got that job, I was able to, book my appointments, um, do anything else I needed to do on that day instead of using Saturday or Sunday, which ideally would be a rest day or would be a day for your family or would be a day to do something that isn't taking care of all the home stuff you need to do, grocery shopping. So there's so much benefits to this 4-day work week. And again, our executive director has been willing to talk to other executive directors, board members to kind of start the conversation or ease any questions they might have and connect them with the organization that we worked with. So I really just want to highlight that because I can't stress the importance enough of how the 4-day work week has really helped us. Is there any other questions about the 4-day work week? Any comments? I know it's a big topic and one that I, again, wish every organization could have.
I have a question. Did you mention if you have a hybrid schedule at all, or does anyone work from home, or is it
We do.
strictly you do? Okay.
I didn't mention it, but it's definitely a big part of our culture is a hybrid schedule. Which again we had to make sure it works for the clients, for the staff. It differs by different program, so we try to make it equal across the board. But some programs, like our shelter program, have to work in person. There may be a day or two that they can work from home, depending if they work with the other staff members. Myself, I work usually 2 days from home. Sometimes it's just one day. But that also really helps us save on gas, um, you know, traffic time is a big important thing. By the time you get home from work, our day ends at 4:30. By the time we get home, for me, sometimes it's 5:30 because I live in Warwick and have to travel to Newport. And so then 5:30 is my day's over. Eat, get ready for the next day, go to bed. So hybrid has really done wonders for us as well. And again, has been part of the conversation, a part of the pilot program and the data to make sure that this is something that we're still taking care of our clients, we're still doing our work, and we're not dropping the ball on anything. A lot of work can be done in person unless it's, you know, conversations with client in person or the shelter, or we have a court advocate that has to physically be at the court. And even then, we may be able to cover her position for a day to make sure she can work from home and do her admin stuff, because we all have admin things at the end of the day to do. Any other questions? Oh, Karen said ECAP has a hybrid schedule for those positions that are deemed to be eligible, working up to 2 days from home per week if a hybrid schedule is approved. Yeah, which is awesome. Again, I think anyone who can do a hybrid schedule, I feel like there's at times there's something that can be hybrid, whether it's entering your notes, whether it's even our shelter, just to back up a little bit, if there's multiple people there or it's the end of the day and they have a couple hours left and not much is going on. Hey, why don't you go home, finish from home, enter your notes, enter the data that you need to work on your case notes, your plan for the week. And so giving back that time to people and having them go home or recognizing that they don't have to stay in this building because that's what's traditionally required is really important. Becky, who's our office manager at the Women's Resource Center, we found we could help clients better as well by meeting remotely, avoiding barriers like transportation, childcare, illness, etc. Which she highlights a very important point. We have a program with DHS, our FUAP program, which basically assists them with child support issues and other issues through DHS. We found that meeting through our Doxy program, which is HIPAA compliant, has worked wonders in meeting clients. Clients can meet us from their home. Since we assist the whole state, instead of coming to us or meeting us at DHS, again, they can meet us from their home or they can meet us at other times. If they don't have childcare, they can still meet us right then and there online. So kind of like pivoting to how we approach things has been amazing. Katie said, do you all work the same 4 days or are there different schedules? There are different schedules. Half of us work Monday through Thursday, and the other half work Tuesday through Friday. And then shelter, they have their a little bit of a different schedule because there's people who live at shelter. And so sometimes I believe when I was at shelter, my schedule was um I believe Thursday through Sunday, which has changed since then. But for the most part, people work Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday. And again, each program's different, so we might look at that and see, hey, what works for this program to make sure we're still serving everyone appropriately. And along with that question, I feel like it's holidays. If there's a Monday holiday, then the Monday people who work Monday through Thursday are off, and then the Tuesday people they would have the next day off. And so there's a lot of work that has gone into this again that to make sure it works. So as I say this, hopefully, um, no, we didn't just do this. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of planning, and then even then, once we did these schedules, we um reviewed them to make sure we were still serving everyone. Any other questions?
I have a question. With the people that helped you guys implement this, have they worked with larger organizations? And if so, what has been the result with the larger organization?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was just on their website getting the the website for everyone, and they worked with like the UK, which has been a bigger part. Like they've done a lot of stuff all over the world, Spain, Portugal, and they have all that data on there. I haven't reviewed it, but there's a lot of successful data. And we know like other countries, there's a lot of other countries that are doing 40 work weeks more than we are. And kind of they have all that research. And I know UK, I believe I saw was like a big part of their research.
Thank you.
So is there any other, and we could come back to this. I just wanted to, any other 40 work week questions, any comments or anything like that? Alright. Yeah, so I just wanted to, we'll move on to the next kind of agenda items I have. Uh, bu- 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 yeah, so before I move on to next, I did want to just highlight um encouraging rest and boundaries is a big part of our organization as well. Um, and that looks different program by program, but I think as someone who's worked in a restaurant before coming into this field, and I worked at a restaurant for 10 years in Newport Creamery, rest and boundaries was not a thing that they ever presented to employees. And so as someone, again, who worked there for almost a decade, I didn't know what that looked like. I assumed I just, I had to be there. There was no leeway whatsoever. If I called out sick, I was ostracized. I was made to feel bad for doing such a thing. And then coming here, it's been a shift in culture for me, and we have improved since I've been here as well. Whether that means if someone's having, a hard day or there's issues occurring in their home in their own lives, depending on the position, finish from home, go, you can work from home, talk to your supervisor, have an honest conversation, and we have been able to make sure we support that person and again, working from home, which is a big deal, instead of having to navigate certain situations. Um, I know for certain staff members, whether childcare is an issue, the organization has been able to work with them to work around their schedule. Maybe they have to pick up their child by 2 o'clock at a daycare, and they implement that into their schedule. And that's something that we're, open and honest with. This is what's going on in their life. How can we support them? Um, I know there's other situations where you might have to travel or there's family situations going on. A big part of a big shift of what we just did instead of I forget what it's called. It's called compassionately what we're doing. I forget what the Megan, what is the alternative called?
So we call it the compassion leave.
But what was the one before
Oh,
that?
like a grievance policy.
No. It was for when a family member passes.
Oh, so I think that would be the grievance or FMLA. Are you thinking of
Bereavement, thank you, Becky.
bereavement?
Which is what most places have is bereavement, so that's what I was trying to get to that. Um, so we had a bereavement policy in place that, most organizations have. If a family member within um that's close to you, that lives in your house, passes away, you can have 5 days off. But we recognize as an organization that that's not always the case. Like families are changing. So we just changed it to compassion leave, which you'll still have the same 5 days off, but that can change depending on like, maybe a friend passed away, maybe a pet passed away. It looks a little different to support the growing types of families. Maybe a uncle in a different state passed away, and so bereavement might not have covered that before. And so we changed our policy to compassion leave, just to reflect again the ever-changing family dynamics and better support staff members as well. Um, Something small, I think, but very impactful, especially in someone's moment of need. All right. And then I'm going to jump into any questions or comments so far. And any of my WRC people, if you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to, because obviously you work here and you live it. All right. All right. And so the next thing is just how to have a empathic conversation, which sounds easy, but definitely can be challenging as well and like even feel awkward to do. It's just important to have that conversation in certain situations. For us, again, I go back to shelters where I spend a lot of my time, and I think a lot of my stress came from shelter. And when we have hard days or even hard situations with clients or partners, and a important thing that we always did was try to debrief afterwards. Um, Kind of with the staff members, talk about what happened, talk about the dynamics of the situation and how everyone's feeling, and kind of work through there. And that's always been an important part of the culture at the shelter, is kind of making sure we're as a team recognizing that this is hard stuff, and let's debrief, let's talk it out. And even recently we've done a peer hotline group where we answer the hotline. Everyone's a part of that, to answer the hotline Monday through Friday. Anyone who calls, we can give referrals, get them to the right person. Some of those hotlines can take an hour. If someone's in crisis, we're not just gonna like push them to the next person. We're gonna listen to them, see what's best to help them. Sometimes people are angry, sometimes they're frightened. There's a lot of emotions that are involved in our field, and the hotline can be a hard thing to do sometimes. And so we recently, I think for a year now, have had the hotline peer support group, which we do every other month, I believe. Um, and we hold that space. And if no one shows up because there's other stuff going on, or maybe they don't have something to talk about, that's fine. But if they do show up, then we can debrief. Hey, how this last few months have been for you for the hotline? Is there a specific situation you want to talk about? And so creating that space and making sure there's somewhere to let go of that is important. And so that's another like avenue that we've highlighted a need for, that staff has come some and really let go of some of that stress. Ba, ba, ba. And another thing that has came to my mind while discussing that, we haven't in COVID times and a few years after that, we did allow we had a board member do yoga for us. And it was, I believe it was at 12 o'clock or somewhere around that time, and once a week. She did it virtually. She was a certified yoga teacher, certified in a bunch of other areas, and would utilize like a virtual yoga, doing it from your chair, turn off your camera. And what was important about that, I believe it was for half an hour, is we're not taking away your the staff member's time. And so like that was implemented into their workday. And so that allowed, again, like once a week, we asked the staff members which time would be best, and kind of implemented that into a part of the work culture. We haven't done that in a while, but it is something that we have done. And if there's a need for it, we can find a way to kind of implement that again. Beep, beep, beep. All right. Any questions or comments? Um, kind of tips for supervisors and peers, is obviously everyone, like if you're a supervisor, you have supervision with your employees, whether it's once a week, every other week, once a month. There's some type of supervision going on with them. It's kind of checking in and seeing how they're doing. Before, like as you start checking in to see how they're doing, instead of just jumping into that, hey, this is what we got going on, this is this project, or this is what's going on with this client. And so I always try to start it by, checking in on how their weekend is. Maybe there's a family member that I can check in um, that they mentioned prior, um, a partner, any hobbies. It just shows that you actually care about this person and not just another employee. So kind of like starting off that conversation with um, how they're doing and talking a little bit outside of work, because you just jump right into the nuances of work. It's just gonna get heavy real fast, and that person isn't gonna, necessarily feel like they're valued. All right. Da, da, da. I do have a question that I kind of want to ask is, what do you wish more workplaces understood about mental health? You can probably type it into the chat because I like when you can read it over.
I mean, Ricky, I'll just say as someone from East Bay Cap, I was from East Bay Center, which was the behavioral health component that merged in 2016 with East Bay Cap.
Mhm.
So I come from the behavioral health background, and certainly we value that behavioral health is no different than medical health, dental health. It's all inclusive. It is on the same level, same importance, the same depth, and it's important for everybody to recognize that. All of us have medical issues, all of us have behavioral health issues. Family does not matter. It's out there.
Yeah, Karen, that's such a good way to put it, because it's, if we don't have it ourselves, there's definitely a
Mhm.
family member that's struggling with it that, um, either you're taking care of or you're having to help deal with in some type of way.
Absolutely. Elder care, we've all been in those situations.
Oh yeah. Um, Thank you for that. That's such an important nuance to navigate too. That again, with our different changing policies, that we're trying to make sure we cover everyone. Um, we have personal days, we have sick time, the compassion leave I mentioned, and then the co-pay for the therapy, that was a big thing, like especially during COVID, which I felt like I appreciated our organization doing, because $30, 40, $50 each time you see someone really can be a barrier to seeking help. Becky, our office manager, normalizing therapy and actively encouraging seeking help. And then we also, of course, have the EAP program that I mentioned earlier. That we post every month in our channels, to make sure our employees are aware of this program. All right. Da, da, da. Tia said there has to be different approaches implemented for different individuals based on their unique needs. This includes cultural background, lived experience, and the way they process and respond to stress or support. Mental health isn't one size fits all, and workplaces need to reflect in their policy and everyday practices. Amen. That is it is not a one size fits all. There's so many types of mental health issues. There are so many types of physical health issues. There's so many types of family dynamics, living situations, financial situations. Um, as we all know, like a cost of living is just something that continues to skyrocket where pay doesn't. That affects mental health. There's just so many types of situations that encompass, yeah. So very well said.
And
Betty said encouraging. Okay.
yep. And Ricky, I was going to just share too. I mean, vicarious
Yeah.
trauma is really a big part of this work too. And so And I know, working in the domestic violence field, a lot of survivors are staff members. And so really making sure that they're receiving the support that they need, as well as we know a lot of these stories can be incredibly triggering. So really making sure, I think, creating that space and really acknowledging that vicarious trauma and secondary trauma are things that our staff are going to experience and how to prepare them for that.
Anybody else? What do you wish more workplaces understood about mental health? Any WRC people? Oh,
Well,
that's fine.
well,
Okay.
Betty from Inspiring Mind says encouraging cultural sensitivity,
Mm,
because that's a big part of it. We're all from different cultures, and what may be okay for one person may not be okay for the other person. So I feel like just like I'm understanding and like doing the research, getting but getting to know people beyond just their like title, and actually getting to know them as a human being.
so true. I wrote it somewhere and I might have lost it in the process of my Word document, but we did form the culture committee. Um, I believe going on 2 years now. And allowed it to be, one manager, but mostly staff, whoever wanted to join, whoever felt like they wanted their input and voice in that process. And so that culture committee really helps navigate like certain events or staff fun day we have once a year, which is like super important to recognize that there's, we need to do this at least one day we come together that isn't work related at all. um, and so that culture committee, I'm not on it, so I can't speak too much to it. But they do a lot. They have done a lot for all the events and putting stuff together. Pop, pop, pop. There
I
was
will say.
oh good.
Sorry. I will say, like my workplace, BGDH, I feel like we do a phenomenal job at like getting to know each other. And each we have something called the fun committee. And the fun committee every month that we do something as a whole for staff, whether it's like painting together, or we have an ice cream bar, or like a lemonade stand going on, or we have just like we listen to music and we do vision boards. So I think things like that, even though they may seem a little corny, they definitely help like your team, and you can use that time to really get to know your staff. And I honestly feel like my job has been better since I've actually put like myself out there instead of just sitting in the office and just coming to work all the time, but like it's actually getting to know people. It definitely made an impact over here for me. So I would say if you're one of those people that just sits in your desk all day and don't really get to know people, maybe try to change that. And I think that would definitely make your workplace a little more positive.
I love that. I love. I'm always getting to know people, like whether it's doing an activity, a tabling event where I'm like, come on, come join me, or um at a staff meeting, maybe I haven't talked to them enough, and I really like have made it more of an effort for my personal growth to like talk to people, and it does really help to build those connections. And I think that can be hard when, like, especially during COVID, a lot of it was online, and so isolating. And that was a big thing that our staff was expressing. We felt very isolated in programs during COVID times and even after COVID. And so we know we started to have staff meetings in person. We started to do for a while. I think you could have done either yoga, and similarly, there was someone who did Family Feud for half an hour online. And so it really just allowed people to connect with each other. That is an environment that feels a little bit less stressful. Um, just three low cost, like impact ways to like build a more emotional, supportive workplace. Which I did mention the culture committee, made up of all different types of employees who wanted to participate in that. Staff meetings. Our recent staff meeting, which was an amazing idea by our second director, was at the Botanical Gardens in Roger Williams. And I can say it was a big hit. Everyone loved going there. And it was simple. Like we had the tables. They allowed I believe an hour beforehand or half an hour beforehand to go walk around. We tried to end early so people could still go walk around. We had our meeting around flowers. Everyone was just loving that. I don't have a green thumb. If I touch a plant, it'll just die instantly. Someone gave me a succulent and it like was dead in a week. Couldn't, wish I did because I do like the idea of plants, but a lot of our staff member love, oh nice, love plants. And it was a big hit. And so doing things like that where I'm sure the cost of just hosting a meeting there was minimal, but the impact was super high. And whether that's like I know Karen, you have a big there's five over 500 employees, so whether that's by department, um
Yeah,
okay.
we have a cookout once a year. So at the
Mm,
summer, beginning of fall, we have an organizational gathering, but even out of the 550, we probably get about 300 people because you just can't get everybody.
yeah,
And we understand that, but that's kind of our way of at least getting, because we have so many locations, we're spread from East Providence to Newport. It
yeah,
makes it just very difficult. So we try for a centralized location and, it's fun. There's
nice.
games, but people really mostly just sit around talking, and we have service awards at that event. And we have a DJ who used to be part of our Head Start program. She was a Head Start kid
Mm,
herself. So she has a DJ business and, she does that. So it's fun.
nice. That's awesome. Is so I know there's like Newport, you said East Providence. Does each EBCAB have its own like personnel that works in that office where they
No,
can do their own?
we oversee the entire organization.
Okay.
But the recruitment staff, the people operations partners, they go to their different locations. For employee relations, they go to help with interviews. So
Mm,
they're out and about more. My particular role is in my office. That's
mm.
the job that I have is very different from theirs. So they're all out and about, and I hold down the fort.
Is there like programs? Because where I'm like we have our shelter program and we have our counseling or like where there's certain people and certain programs where we have our staff meetings together or
Oh,
not
every
staff
every
meetings.
department will have, like, family development gets
Yeah.
together once a month for
Okay.
a large online meeting. And the medical center, they have a couple of trainings twice a month.
Mm,
So they get together at a lunchtime and do that. So everybody does their thing that works for their particular circumstance, their particular staffing, their particular times that they're open. It's really specific to what works for them.
sure. And I asked because I wonder like in those like once a month meetings, could there be a person that, holds a deep breathing exercise that's 5 minutes? Could there be an um,
Yep,
we
through
I know
through our
okay.
Blue Cross, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield as our insurer, and we
Mhm.
have an employee wellness benefit through that. So our people experience partner is actually coordinating. A couple of the folks will be at the picnic this year, doing coaching and dietary, exercise, things like that. And then we have a series of interactive webinars that are on particular health topics. So she's actually surveying staff today. She sent out her survey about which topics people would like to see, and then they'll have the ability to just log in, to those webinars and view those and interact with other staff who are attending.
That's awesome. A part of our staff meeting, like, we did the Botanical Gardens, and one before that, Erica Baker, our counselor manager, she bought little wooden boxes for everyone and allowed us to paint them while we were in a staff meeting. And staff definitely really resonated well with that. Of course, we're smaller, we're trying to do more
Sure. I mean,
in-person
my own
stuff.
department, we have a lunch and learn every month,
Mm,
and we could do a potluck. One of us will give a presentation,
mm,
or we will just, kind of talk to each other about what we can do to support each other. I mean, last month I did a word search on all kinds of words within our department, our names and everything else, and the work that we do. And we just sat around the table saying who could do the word search more quickly than somebody else. Um, Another day my husband is quite the baker and I have a gluten sensitivity. So every month he
mm.
makes a gluten-free dessert for everybody, and um, food is good. I
Yeah.
bring in
So
a
true.
lot. Let me tell you, I bring in a
I know.
lot every month. Every week there's something for someone to enjoy. And that's kind of what we encourage other people to do as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, food is amazing. Yeah, we have food at every gathering basically because
Mhm.
people are hungry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what we do is not easy. Perfect. Thank you, Karen. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah, so that was just like that staff meeting again was just another a low cost way that really resonated with staff. And then another that I did mention earlier was virtual yoga that we did for a while, which allowed staff to come at, when they were able to attend, really resonated well with staff as well. Pop, pop, pop. I guess Karen, I know you shared some, want to hear what other, like, if there's any like low cost, high impact, um, supportive stuff that other places are doing that are in this channel if they want to share. Because I know funding's always tight for everyone. So this low cost way is like bringing in food. That's amazing because it's, it's community and food is, everyone loves food.
I mean, over here for the summertime, I am trying to put together like a outdoor kind of picnic where like we go outside and like our lunchers and we bring
Mm,
blankets, and then we also have connections with like food trucks. There's a couple people here that have friends, so I wanted to bring the food truck here and also have like music playing so that way everyone is not stuck inside. Like we're outside enjoying each other, summertime, food, because you said everyone's always hungry, and music is always good. So yeah. And also I definitely just got a good idea from like Karen. I think recognition is like a big part in the workplace, and I feel like we don't recognize people as much. So maybe I'm through this conversation, I'm just thinking of maybe implementing something called like the BHGDH Awards. So that way we can, we could showcase people. We could let people know is how proud of is how happy we are to have them. How much work they do. Because I know the more you recognize people, the more they feel, confident, and the more they're likely to stay. Versus somewhere where you work all day, you work so hard, and nobody seems to care.
that's awesome. I love me a good food truck. I know someone who has a food truck too, so I'll tell you their name afterwards, see if you know them.
Okay, yay, thank you.
Yes, as Becky said, we do recognize birthdays and anniversaries. And additionally, people do have their birthday as one of like they have their birthday off. If they want to take that day off or they want to use it on a different day, it's a paid day for them. Yeah. And when I first came here, I was like, oh, that's so amazing. I was gonna take my birthday off anyway, but now I'm gonna get paid for it. Amazing. Um, and yeah, an anniversary. So we always post. We have a budget that allows us to. We recently the managers who supervise those employees. Um, we have a budget that allows us to get them a gift card. Send them a card, something small. Maybe like to Dunkin', a coffee store, or fast food place. But it just recognizes and says just a little something like, "Hey, we appreciate you. Happy birthday, happy anniversary." Elizabeth said at an organization she used to work with, they did cooking lessons where one person would show everyone how to make one of their favorite dishes, and then we would all enjoy it together. I made crepes. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're gonna make crepes for us too soon. Elizabeth Gallagher is our employee, one of our employees at the Women's Resource Center. I do love me a good crate.
Melanie, you have your hand up. Do you have something to say?
Oh, I can see that. Thank you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, at West Bay, we do a lot to try to promote that culture. We do have the birthdays off. We started that years ago, trying to figure out a way to give back to,
Mm.
the teams. And so we have a yearly, we were doing a yearly picnic. This year, we're going to do something a little different. We have a committee that works on different initiatives, and so throughout the year, we'll have a chili cook-off, we'll have Friendsgiving, apple, like cider, kind of the different themes throughout the year where we get together. We do, on my team, I like to have a yearly retreat, and that's always fun. And I would, in my car, I would bring chairs, fold up chairs, and we'd meet outside when the weather's nice and just sit out. And so there is a lot of attention to that, and I feel like it has made a difference. And we enjoy Jenny, who's on this. She's a wonderful baker, and so Jenny spoils us with our team because for birthdays she'll make beautiful desserts, and so we all have like these fun things that we look forward to throughout the year. Oh yes, the Super Bowl. We have, yeah.
I love the
So
name.
we have a lot of different things that we do. It's wonderful.
That's awesome. There's a
And
lot of
we
people who cook soup on our end, so now I'm sure they're thinking about that now.
and we do have like recognize employees for outstanding contributions.
Nice. Thank you for sharing, Melanie. Yeah, I know we're at the last minute, and I'm
Yeah.
very conscious of people's time, so I just wanted to say thank you everyone for coming in the space. Just kind of leave everyone with like who will you show up for this week? Um, this is definitely a topic that has to continue happening, because in mental health, employees' mental health, the work we do is important. We're never funded enough, and we're overworked. So I think all these little things add up and make a difference for each and every one. And I'll leave some time for Tia.
They do. Oh, actually, guys, my name is not Tia. My name is Christiana. Tia was the lady's name that I was using, so my name is
Oh,
Christiana. It's okay,
I was like, that she
Ricky.
got a nickname. I was just like, I'm gonna use the nickname.
Christiana. But thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you, Ricky. I definitely got a lot of ideas from this conversation, and I hope you guys did too. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, thank you. I was just saying, so as people like, sorry, I'm like, I thought you had a nickname.
No, it's in my Christy. I mean, I guess you call me that if you want.
No, Christiana.
All right. Bye, Ricky. Thank you so much.
Bye. Yeah, of course.
Bye.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.